Guys, we got some really cool news. Red's been working really hard tonight, and tomorrow's Earth Day, and there's a tiny house coming, and so all y'all needs to get to the headwaters and go meet some of our friends.
Yeah.
And so she put this together, and she's gonna explain this awesome flyer she just made tonight.
So we visited our friends at Forever Tiny Homes, and we got some great information. They're awesome people. They're coming now for Earth Day celebration tomorrow. So definitely come check out their really fine craftsmanship, and they're just people of integrity. They care about keeping costs down and really helping people. So that being said, we posted recently about our visit down there and shared about the tiny homes they have, some of the pricing information, just to give people some information. And as usual, there's always a few comments that aren't always 100%
And
supportive.
they seem to be all in Dunsmuir. I'm not sure why.
And it's okay, but
LOL.
Somebody had commented that like nobody can even afford these tiny houses that we're trying to sell. We weren't even really trying to sell them.
Who can really afford these?
Who can even afford these things? Why don't you go start a company and make jobs?
Yeah. Alpha. Why don't you go start a company and make jobs?
Funny, I actually have started a company and made jobs before, and it actually takes a really long time to build a company from nothing up to where you can actually afford to support other people besides your own family. And that is also something we're trying to do with Ohana Connect, supporting businesses. We're trying to help everybody create more jobs and have better businesses. But that's beside the point. The main point of this message is because of the comment and just I thought, maybe if this person has a question about the affordability, there's probably other people that also are wondering about the reality of the affordability, which is a valid question. So I thought, well, let me pull some information. So I reached out and I called my friend Arlene at Forever Tiny Homes, and she sent me a really informational email. We'll continue sharing the resources. She sent me some information with some of the banks that they normally recommend when people are looking to purchase. One of the banks had a payment calculator on there, so I went ahead and I took the information she gave me, and she said one of the banks they work with does pretty simple, straightforward terms at like 15-year terms for a tiny home. And so I went on one of the websites that she gave me that has a payment calculator. I put for 15-year terms. I just left it at the standard estimate of a 9%, I think it was, loan. So, this is ballpark number depending on what you would qualify at exactly. But just to give people a general idea, what would a payment realistically look like? I think that's a valid question. So I put in for the lower model that they have, the smaller one that they have, the mid-range model that they have, and then I put the highest, like even a little bit over what their highest one is, just to get a general idea of what would be a baseline, low, medium, high, what someone could realistically expect the payment to be.
At 9%.
At 9%, assuming 9%, assuming 15 years. So again, ballpark ideas.
Average.
Let's
what
look at it.
What if you had good credit? Would it be lower than 9%?
Yeah, totally.
What if you had bad credit? Would it be a little higher somehow?
It could be. So, but I thought this is a good, let's start
all those in line.
Let's start square one. What would be a general idea of
we
what the
we already know that there's banks that can finance tiny houses on wheels.
Yes.
That we have contacts with.
Exactly. So like I said, I'll continue sharing all those resources.
So don't think that you need to come up with 50 grand in cash.
No.
Okay, because I know there's somebody out there
that probably does think that.
Yeah.
But that's
just like a truck, just like an RV, just like all those things.
Nobody ever actually expects you to have all that money. This is America. They love to loan you money. That's like one of the favorite things to do. But so I ran, given those ballpark ideas, make the assumption of just the basic standard, the example that came up on the bank website when I put it in, right? Okay, so I took those, again, like I was saying, put a baseline for the bottom model, the mid model, even a little above, just in case we want to add a few extra things on there. I just gave it a little extra cushion. Let's just give people basic idea. What would that actually look like if you bought one of these tiny houses? Is that more affordable than another option than renting an apartment or trying to buy a house? average house, 300 maybe to 500,000 for an average house anywhere in this county or Mount Shasta. So given those numbers, I made this for you guys. Okay, we're gonna bring this tomorrow, and then I'll post this up. We'll share this around. So who can really afford these? Okay, so if we have a traditional home, if an average traditional home, let's say even somewhere $300,000 to right now Mount Shasta, closer to $500,000 is your typical traditional home versus a tiny home, anywhere from say 65,000 to 99,000. That's a pretty generous range here with the homes they have available. Okay,
Totally.
so what would be, if we put that in the payment calculator, what would your estimated payments be on the tiny homes? So if you're looking at the $65,000 model, you're coming somewhere around $650, $664, I think that says, a month, right? For your monthly payment for 15 years. Now, if you're renting an apartment or you're renting a house, your rent is going to be a lot more than $600 or $700 a month. And let's also remember, you're not gaining any equity, and also you're not locking that price in for the next 15 years. Your rent's probably going to go up maybe every year, probably at least every couple of years, your rent's going to go up. So you're not going to be securing a solid number the whole time. It's going to probably increase. And again, you're not building any equity. You're not going to ever be done paying your rent. You're going to be paying rent forever. If you were to buy, say, somewhere in the mid-range, like say you're looking at an $80,000 tiny home, if you put in, again, the assumption is a 15-year at that 9% estimated percentage that was on there, you're coming somewhere around $800 a month for your payment. If you went all the way up to the very tippy top and then even a little extra, you're coming in just under $100,000. Somewhere around $1,000 a month, according to these calculations on the website. I took screenshots of those too, so I can post those if anyone wants to see. And again, we can share the link. You can play around with the numbers and see if you think your rate would be lower, if you think your rate would be higher. I think it's really important that we're actually getting a realistic picture. Because if you're talking about a lifestyle change, you need to know what you're potentially walking into, so you know, is this the right pathway for you? Maybe it's not, or maybe it's actually way more affordable than what you thought it would be. Now, again, there's going to be other variables. I'm still getting confirmation on some other variables that came to mind while I was talking about this with everybody. So we'll continue to pass that on when we come up with real hard data for you guys. But then also, you know, keep in mind too, you're in a tiny home, your utilities are going to be a lot cheaper than they would be too if you're in something larger or something that's not as new, because you know it might not be as efficient, or it might not have good insulation or something. So anyway, so I whipped that up. I just sent that off to Arlene, and we're going to bring some of these tomorrow, but I just thought this is helpful if we want to start comparing what would it look like with your monthly payment if you did this versus some other option.
What's the websites on the bottom?
Websites on the bottom are our friends at Forever Tiny Homes, so you can find them at forevertinyhomes.com. They do have a list of all their current models that they have available in stock. They have information on financing on there. They have all kinds of really great information on their website. And then we have myohanaconnect.com. So as always, you can find information on our business networking, how we're trying to support locals with local businesses, with affordable housing, how everything ties to our overall mission to help our community thrive better. And so you'll see us probably walking around tomorrow. You'll definitely see us, I'm sure, hanging out with our friends at Forever Tiny Homes. The kiddos want to play and hang out. And we want to play and hang out because we like them. All right. So you'll see us, and we'll probably have the flyers for... Where did they go? I just printed a whole stack of other flyers. Okay, never mind. I was gonna last minute flash the other flyer for the concert. So I guess you just have to wait and see that one later. Yeah, that's it.
Good night.
Okay, bye.
Bye.